everyone. I'm Teresa.
I'm David.
We're retired and road tripping. We are pretty excited. You're inside of our house. We have decided that we're going to make our first, in my opinion at least, our first big trip since I retired. So we decided to go ahead and show you from the beginning, because I'm always getting messages on YouTube and on Facebook about how we figure out where we go, all the places that we find to go see when we, around the area. So I just decided we're going to show you from the beginning. And I promise that this trip I'm going to try to do a lot better showing you on the map where we go, because I don't really assume that people know where we're going, but I just never really thought about it. But we're going to show you on the map where we go for every place that we go. Let me get this turned off, flip it around. Dave's getting all of his information ready for the video so that we can give an informed video about how we decide what we're doing. Okay, so we got our table out. It kind of hit me that we're not living our talk. You can either walk your walk and talk, live your talk. And we haven't been living our talk. Like, I retired. We did our summer trip up to the Dakotas. Like, that's not new and different for us. Like, we always do a big trip in the summer. In the fall, Dave was busy farming, and, I just was itching to get on a trip. And I told him back then, I was like, I'm not arguing with you. During the wintertime, when you are not farming, we're going somewhere. So we got it through Christmas. We got through New Year's. We've had a big snowstorm. And I just like, you know what? We need to go on a trip. So I hit Dave up with it. And so we decided we're going to go on a trip. So, Dave, you want to tell him where I gave Dave 3 choices. Okay, I'll tell you the non-winners. Choice number 1 was probably Big Bend, Texas. We've been down there before, but we didn't video it. So that's a big trip. But 15 hours from our home. But we've done it before. And then trip number 2 was Great Smoky Mountains in Tennessee up to Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. We've done the Great Smoky Mountains before, but we've never been Kentucky. We haven't videoed any of that. Yeah. And then the third choice, which maybe really was the first thing I told him, is the one that Dave picked. Dave, tell him what you picked.
And going out to Utah, see the big 5 national parks. And then there's a bunch of monuments out there too, national monuments.
So Dave picked the Mighty 5 in Utah, which that was what I was thinking about initially. But then after I really kind of started looking into it, I kind of got overwhelmed because there is a lot to do in that area. Yeah. And David, when we get on trips, David's just looking at his phone, looking at his maps. You're about to see everything that David uses. And he's just constantly, there's 20 miles from here. There's something. You want to go? And we just start veering off. And I told him, I was like, we got to stay laser focused if we're going to do this Mighty 5, because there's a lot of stuff that we could get detoured around.
Yeah.
And Zion National Park is the farthest from our house. And I think it was like about 19 hours. But so Dave picked the Mighty 5. I was freaking out. I was like, that's a lot. We don't have much time to plan for that. Little temporary freaking out, but then we came back to it. So the first thing we did was check the weather in Utah. 50 to 58 degrees during the day, never below 30. Perfect. We can do that. Okay, so then Dave, let me flip this. Dave's job next is to pick the route. So he uses a lot. He's used
this atlas to plot the map across the United States. Initially, looking at the interstates and the U.S. highways, so we use them quite a bit to get down here to all the national parks and the monuments. So we're going to be coming across Kansas and.
So then we went back to our room where we keep all of our DeLormes. So we just started pulling every state
that we had: Missouri, Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, Colorado. We realized we didn't have an New Mexico or Arizona.
Yep.
Got a chance to look at the national forest maps, because they do have national forests along the rivers.
So then, while Dave was, this was yesterday, while Dave was planning the route, I just kind of started watching YouTube videos. Yeah. Like this is what we're doing right now is what we do for every trip. People are always messaging me, how do y'all figure this out? Well, that's why I decided to do this video. This is how we do it. So while he's doing the mileage or the route, roughly, I'm kind of starting to watch YouTube videos. And I will tell you, we watched Dispersed Camping Man. He's based out of Arkansas, but he's been doing a lot of videoing out of Utah and Nevada. Yeah. And then we also watched Two Tired Teachers. I think they're out of Texas. And we really liked their route. So I think actually their route, we may not stay at everywhere that they stayed, but their route, the way they did it, I think is going to work for us.
Most southern route, if we have to go, we'll go up to Moab and up to Arches. Well, the elevation's higher, so we got to pay attention to the weather forecast, make sure there's no snow up there.
Well, the problem that was kind of hitting us to begin with was we're in Missouri, we're going to Utah, Colorado's in the middle. The initial MapQuest said to go I-70 through Denver over those passes in Colorado, and I've seen a lot of bad videos on that pass. So I told Dave, I was like, I don't think we want to go through Colorado. So Dave had to spend a lot of time routing us south of Colorado. So, then the next pass is the southern pass is Wolf Creek Pass in Pagosa Springs. So I looked that up, Googled it, and that's dangerous. 6% incline and decline on both sides of the mountain. It can be sketchy in the winter. So I was like, okay, we're just going south. Can we do that? I just want to add that in addition to our DeLormes, in the back, we have a little plastic folder envelope, and we put all of our state maps and things like this, like our Nat Geo maps and specialty maps that we have that will go into that little envelope. And then when we get to that state, we just go to the back and pull out whatever extra maps we have that might help us. Sorry, I had to get a drink of water. So after we picked out the route, I immediately start MapQuesting, putting the dots together, come up with a total average of what the gas could cost us. And if that's a price that we think we can afford, then we do it.
Then when I looked up on Gas Buddy too, what the prices were of gas along the route, along US 54 and US 56 and US 64.
So then the next thing we do after we pick out our route, we approve the route, we approve the price, like what we think we're going to spend on gas. And it's always spend more than that. So this trip, I averaged it up to about $2,000. That's just the gas for the truck. So we know we're going to spend more than that driving the Jeep. So we're looking at maybe $3,000 gas. Hopefully we can keep it under $3,000, but we'll see. So then the next thing I start getting on the apps. iOverlander is the one that I use the most. Yeah. And start plotting free camping onto our Google interactive map. And usually every little area that we kind of want to drive a total a day, I try to find someplace where there's like 2 or 3 options in case option number 1 isn't what we want or it's not available. Then we have a backup options.
And some of those places are so small they only got like 6 sites available in a given area.
So now I want to show you, this is all the books that Dave starts going through. He starts finding Corps of Engineer campgrounds. He still hasn't done this one, but he's going to go through this one. Yep. These 2 books, actually, this one right here, we found an awesome free camping at a city park in Clarissa, Minnesota. Yep. So while he's doing that, I start in on the fine details of the national parks that we're going to. So this one is my favorite book, Your Guide to the National Parks. I don't even know if they still sell this, but I'm going to show you why I love this. Okay, so we've never been to these national parks, so we don't have a map. So Zion National Park, it has information. It tells you when you should go, when is the best time, transportation, directions. Okay, and this is the part that I love. It has the map insert in the book. Yeah. So even though we haven't been there to get the little paper map, this has the map, And it also has the hikes. That's what these little shoe prints are. Wait, where is it? There it is. The little shoe prints.
Shows
It has a don't miss the scenic drive.
entrance, the gates or entrance ways where you pay to get in and out.
Has the campgrounds. It has the different parts in the park. And then it also has by listing all of the trails. Has camping, which is probably out of date because I'm not sure how old this book is. But I'm sure it's probably not that prices anymore. Just has the top hiking, of course, Angel's Landing. Okay, so this is my favorite book. Okay, and then moves into the Grand Canyon. This is my favorite book when we're doing national parks. So that's where we're at right now. We figured out where we're going. Well, let me change that so that you aren't seeing that fan. We have figured out our mileage. We have pretty much fine-tuned our route. I've started my Google Interactive map, and on that I put camping and I put points of interest on there. We have no idea if there's going to be service where we're going.
Yeah, that's the next thing I gotta look up.
Actually, I'm probably going to make a old-fashioned paper copy of all this information as well. And now the next thing that we're doing, we are really hitting the YouTube videos hard just to make sure that I'm making a wise decision on places to camp. But it sounds like with Utah, there's lots of options. But I'm already noticing like Willow Springs Road in Moab used to be free, and now it's no longer free. It's $15 a night. So I'm just double checking to make sure that everything that we think is free is actually going to be free.
Yep.
All right, Dave, anything else you want to add on this, preparing to go on our trip?
I marked this book here about all the national parks. We've got little articles in it and stuff like that, but it's so old with the fees and all that's behind, but it still has some maps like her book does too, because being out in Utah with the Colorado River and the San Juan River and the Green River, you only got limited places you can cross rivers out there to get one side or the other. So we put truck camper probably on the southeast side of where we're going to be at, and drive the Jeep around to see the sights on the other side.
Yeah, hang on. Let me turn this off, see if I can find a rough map. Okay, now bear with us because this is rough. We're just starting. Okay, so we're going to be coming in south of Colorado Springs on 64. And then we're going to enter Utah over here.
And there's state roads.
So we're going to go, rather than going straight to Zion, we're going to go this way. And we're going to go up to Canyonlands, up to Arches,
Cliffs.
Hit 70 for a little bit, get down here to Capitol Reef.
Yeah.
Bryce Canyon, Zion, and then we're going to see how much time that's taken. We got to come back down this way to get home. So we may come down to Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And we're thinking about, I can't exactly see it on here, hit Winslow, Arizona, and then get on Route 66 and bring that all the way back home to Missouri.
We got those maps coming in, actually.
Yep, that's another thing we did. That was yesterday after we got our DeLorme's out and we got our route figured out. I went and looked to see if made sure that we had everything that we needed. So we've actually got one of these, a Nat Geo for Utah.
Yep.
And we've got a DeLorme for Arizona coming in.
Yep.
All right. So that is our planning process right now. We have no idea. Like when we take off, my daughter, my son just left. We're letting everybody know, hey, after the Super Bowl, we're going on a trip to Utah. And they said, when are you coming back? I was like, we don't know when we're coming back. This is the first trip where there is no end date. And, I told Dave when we were kind of not freaking out, but we're like, oh, this is going to be a big trip. If every time we start getting hesitating about taking a trip like this, something happens that shows us that life is too short and to stop putting it off. And I went to school today. I had a sub for the principal, and somebody there told me a very sad story about her husband and how he's no longer able to travel. And she was just like, go, just go. I was like, okay, we're going. And I told Dave, I was like, if we run out of money, if we start spending too much money on gas, we stop where we're at, we turn around, we come home. At least we've done something. We've seen more than what we do by just sitting here in mid-Missouri. So we're not feeling guilty about leaving. We're not feeling guilty about spending money. We know that we're going to do it as cheap as we can, and we do that. Somebody asked me at lunch today at school, how do y'all eat? And we will show that to you. Like, we're going to show you from beginning to end this trip. But I told her the quick answer was we have a big cooler that we call the freezer cooler, and the only food that goes in there is frozen food for breakfast and dinner. And then we have a smaller cooler that we take in the Jeep with us, and we call that the lunch cooler.
Yep.
And normally for lunch, we eat ham sandwiches and peanut butter and jelly, and sometimes it's sausage and cheese and crackers. We don't eat much for lunch. And so once a day, we get into the freezer cooler. We take out the next day's breakfast, next day's supper. We shut that. And normally we can keep that food frozen for 10 days.
Yeah.
And then near the end of that 10 days, depending on how much is left in there, we may have to grab a bag of ice or two and just throw it in there. And then, like we did this past trip to Dakotas, we ran out of food. So then you go to Walmart and you just stock up.
Yeah,
and of course,
local grocery store or something like that.
we try to do a local grocery store if they have it. We actually prefer those. They have better bakeries and delis.
And they got local meat too from the local lockers.
Yeah. So we try not to spend any more money. We try to camp for free. We eat out of our coolers. And we try to keep the gas as cheap as we can. Like,
use Gas Buddy all the time.
Like the farthest point that we want to go, we won't take the truck camper there. We'll stop short about an hour and we'll drive the Jeep over there and then we'll come back. So, hey, I'm excited about this. I'm excited that we have decided to do this kind of video, just not only for everyone who's watching, but also for us, so that when we're too old to do this kind of stuff, we can just sit back and go, hey, I remember that. Remember how scared we were about going to Utah? And I'm sure we'll have a great time, and we're glad that you're here with us, and we hope that you have, everything that we're planning right here may not even, who knows if we're gonna have to wing it. But there's one thing that I do know. David can fix anything. He can get us through any problem. I know that we're going to have fun no matter what we do as long as we're together. We do have the dog with us, Bandit. He's going to limit us on the hikes that we can do because most of the national parks, dogs aren't allowed on the trails.
Yeah.
So, like Dave said yesterday, if this is our first trip and we get our feet wet and we just see what it's about, then, Bandit's not going to live forever. So we can go back and we can do more if we want. But we're super excited to see part of America that we've never seen before. And that's really what this is about. All right, Dave, is there anything else you want to add?
Nothing else I can think of right now. But like I said, we've got National Geographic maps coming in.
We love the National Geographic
Somehow
maps.
we picked this up.
I ordered that.
Okay.
That's been in our pile for a while.
Yeah.
David loves the DeLorme state atlases, and he's always got a couple of road atlases, and he's always got his GPS. And all these public campground project books we love. And then that national park book I love. So, anything else you want to add, Dave?
Nothing I can think of right now.
All right, America's beautiful. Get out and see it.
Like and subscribe if you want to.
We'll see you on the road.